Well, this is the final in the series of Travels with Clive. The Clive being Clive Robertson of radio and television fame, of course, and a good friend for many, many years. And thank you for your comments on the videos I've posted. Some people have asked about whether Clive has seen it, and of course, all I can say is that I sent them to him around about the year 2007. I left radio in 2000, entered in Perth to join my wife in travels in Europe with classical music tours and escorting Australians through Europe for those beautiful performances and venues and so forth. And Clive wasn't happy about me doing that. He said that radio needed me. Well, radio doesn't really need anybody. Once they step out, of course, there are so many very talented people ready to replace you in radio. And I had a wonderful 14 years as a second career, up to 35 years in radio. I then had 14 years in travels in Europe. So all I can say is I'll show you what I sent him.
Hello, Clive. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen you, so I thought I'd better send you a letter, a video letter, and I'll pop it in your letterbox. Well, you know what I mean. Do you know it's nearly 40 years since I first met you at 6IX in Perth, 1968. We were busy being disc jockeys. Well, a little more refined than that. Clive Alexander Robertson, Leslie Victor Thompson. Weren't we hot? Radio announcers, really. And you were very kind to me at that time. You helped me with the housing, remember? And I ended up in that York Street apartment at Zydeco, upstairs, mind you, and I certainly remember the 1968 earthquake. The earth really moved for me. I did have to get a little help getting back across Nullarbor.
I wonder who's kissing him now. Marilyn Michaels from her album titled The Times They Are Changing. That's the Les and Jeanette, living in Katoomba, New South Wales, which is not a bad effort for 6IX. Katoomba is 68 miles from Sydney, actually my birthplace of all coincidences. A rather cool place, lovely to visit, but not the best to stay, perhaps. A little bit cool. Anyway, Les and Jeanette, all the very best. We trust that you heard us across the 2,000 miles of Australia. It's such a small place. 16 minutes past 9 on 6IX.
Seriously, I've been looking through some old tapes and I've found all these wonderful things that we did, the places we went to, the blue skies and the cloud formations and the people and the winemakers. There are a few winemakers there. And I know you weren't too sure about those people, but you didn't try enough of their product, as I kept telling you. But seriously, you've been a good friend over many years now, and I've got all these memories, so I wanted to share them with you. I hope you enjoy them.
Here on a hillside just outside Bathurst in New South Wales is one of the most charming, stately homes you're likely to find anywhere in Australia. This house was once called The Mount. It was built in the 1870s by the Stewart family of the surrounding Mount Pleasant estate. The land had been granted to Lieutenant Governor William Stewart, but it was his son, James Horne Stewart, who had this house built in the Scottish baronial style. I first came here in the early 70s, not long after the founder of Sydney's Pittwater House Preparatory School, Rex Morgan, had acquired the property and renamed the house Abercrombie House. From the very beginning, Rex, as he moved in with his young family, was an enthusiast for all this house represented.
As we're standing here, you'll notice that there's a great deal of sandstone as well as the granite. All this granite, incidentally, was cut and hewn on the spot. The foundation of the house is a granite knob, and all these great stones were cut by hand and then placed in position as the house was built. The sandstone facings and mullions and so on were all made similarly at the time of the house being built on the spot. You'll notice some carving in the sandstone. Those thistles represent the Royal Stuart thistle, because the Stuart family was the same family, a collateral branch of the same family which in fact ruled Scotland. You'll notice there's a great porch over the front entrance, and above that there are stained glass windows in that room above. There are shields there for family coats of arms, and 2 gargoyles who are there to ward off evil spirits.
As the visitor moves from room to room on the arranged inspection tours, it's not hard to believe some of the intriguing stories that Rex told me on my first visit to the house.
We've discovered that there are, in fact, there is some evidence of the activity of spirits in this house. There have been a number of strange things, shall we say, seen and heard by a number of people who've stayed in the house with us. I suppose perhaps the most interesting and significant one is that jointly and severally the whole of the family and many other people that have stayed in the house have heard a bicycle bell ringing in the early hours of the morning. And we believe that one of the early Stuart daughters, Rosalind Stuart, used to ride a bicycle in that area on the other side of the house near the tower, and we feel sure that it must be her that rides about. From time to time there have been other reported visits. We had a party here one night, a formal occasion, and this was all in white tie, and the ladies were of course all in long dresses. And during the evening one of my friends said, who was the woman that went up the main staircase about an hour ago in a brown crinoline frock? And we was afterwards and realised that there hadn't been anyone at the party, in fact, so dressed, and so we imagined that this must have been one of the Stuarts who came back to join in the party, and we always think they're very welcome to do this. Quite often we have a formal dinner, a banquet in the ballroom, which is all done of course by candlelight, and when from time to time we have people staying with us, there's often a toast proposed to Abercrombie House, and when I reply to this toast, I once said, in the course of what I was saying, I wonder what the Stuarts would think if they could see us now sitting in this great hall using the house as it was meant to be used. And immediately, I've just forgotten what happened on the first occasion, but something fell over, something occurred which we didn't take a great deal of notice of, but we found that every time since, when I've said those same words, something happens. The fire will roar, or the lights will flicker, or the dogs, who of course are particularly sensitive to any supernatural or psychic activity, become quite unsettled when I say this, and it seems to me that there is still great evidence of some of the early Stuarts being about the place. And I think it'd be quite wrong for us to give the impression that it's a haunted house, because it isn't in that sense at all. But I dare say this is true of almost any house, whether it be old and big like this one, or even in small suburban houses. I think it just depends very much on the frame of mind of the person that's in it.
From the rooftop, the beauty of the Central West slopes and plains is clearly evident, as is the adjacent hillside where under an obelisk in 1854, Major General William Stewart was laid to rest, supposedly so that he could always survey his estate. Abercrombie House, a tribute to the Stewart family who built it and to the Morgans, who have so lovingly and patiently restored it and lived in it in the grand style for which it was intended.
Have a look. You have a look here.